I upload daily NBA content on this channel, so if that is something that interests you, then subscribe. Also drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second and it makes a massive difference. In today's video, I'm reacting to some more hot takes for Hot Take Tuesday, and I'm going to be putting a focus on hot takes for the 2020 offseason. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, also, there is a new episode of my NBA series on the Philadelphia 76ers over on my second channel. That channel is around 870 subscribers away from 10K, so if you go subscribe over there, I would really appreciate it. Even if you do not enjoy 2K content, typically my videos are very unique and more basketball analysis related, so go check them out if that sounds like something you'd be interested in.
Save! Absolutely incredibly with the acrobatic alley-oop!
Denver will hurt big time in the playoffs after losing Jeremy Grant. So, obviously, me being the Jeremy Grant stan, I'm going to have to agree with this one. I will say that the Denver Nuggets did do a decent job of making up for that loss by signing JaMychal Green, because he can do, like, probably 70% of what Jeremy Grant could do, and he's a lot cheaper than Jeremy Grant. However, still definitely a big loss for the Denver Nuggets, and it's going to look bad. And I think people are not giving this loss as big of a credit as they really should for how much it's going to hurt the Denver Nuggets. I actually think the Nuggets are probably not going to be any better next season because of this move, when they could have been better because of Murray improving and Michael Porter Jr. getting a bigger role, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening now. The Knicks are winners based on the fact that they didn't overpay anybody. Detroit had one of the worst off seasons in history. I don't think you get credit for being like winners of the offseason because you didn't really do anything. It's good that they're not making stupid decisions, but really the way that they're not making stupid decisions is by avoiding making most decisions. So I'm not going to give them too much credit for that. And then for the Pistons, did they have a good offseason? Not really. Did they have the worst one in history? No, absolutely not. They signed some big contracts that are kind of puzzling on the surface. However, all of those contracts can be flipped for further assets. Like, I imagine Jeremy Grant is going to play out at least half of the year with the Pistons. He's going to average like 20 points per game because who else is going to shoot the ball on that team? And then he's going to have a lot of value to get 1 or maybe even 2, maybe even 3 first-round picks depending on who's trading for him. So Jeremy Grant is going to be turned into draft assets. Mason Plumlee is going to be turned into draft assets. And then outside of that, I mean, what else were they going to do? They got Killian Hayes, was a good draft pick. They can trade Derrick Rose. I don't think the Pistons have one of the worst off seasons in history. I don't even think they had really the worst one of this off season. So Charlotte is making the playoffs as like a 6th or 7th seed. I do have the Hornets competing for a playoff spot, and I'm probably going to make a video on that. I definitely would not just confidently say that they are going to make the playoffs. However, I do think it's very real, the chance that they do. Gordon Hayward, I think, was a good addition. And then LaMelo Ball, if he has a really good rookie year, I could definitely see the Hornets being a playoff team next year. Danny Green was more valuable than his stats suggested during the playoffs and regular season. He is a good defender and put in a lot of effort on defense, often picking up guys in the full court, which allowed Bron and AD to focus more on offense. Well, I don't know about Anthony Davis there because he was never defending perimeter guys anyways, but at least in the case of LeBron, I do agree that was true. And I've seen people suggest that like Wesley Matthews is an upgrade over Danny Green when he is absolutely not really a better three-point shooter, not by a much anyways, and then definitely not a better defensive player. He's not a bad defensive player, but he's like 70% the defensive player Danny Green was. Now, I'll say trading Danny Green for Dennis Schroeder and then getting a guy who's probably 70% as good as Danny Green for like $2 million a year is definitely an improvement, but Danny Green himself is definitely better than Wesley Matthews, and I think Lakers fans just only focused on the fact that he was bricking open threes in the playoffs and didn't really give him the credit he deserved for what he was doing on the defensive end of the court. The Lakers' offseason signings are starting to become overrated. They didn't gain much more players than they lost. I phrased this one in the title, something like the Lakers didn't improve this year, but now that I'm reading it, it's like more like, I guess it's still saying that. I mean, yeah, they lost as many players as they gained, but the players they gained were better. So where's the issue? And I don't even think that's true. They lost Rondo, they lost Dwight. Is any other key rotation player that they lost while they also got I mean, they traded Danny Green for Dennis Schroeder, and then they got Wesley Matthews, and then they got Marc Gasol, and they got Montrezl Harrell. No, that's not the case. The Lakers definitely got better this offseason. They got more players than they lost. And, I mean, they brought back Markieff Morris even. This was definitely not a loss for the Lakers. I'm confidently saying they're going to repeat as champions because they improved this drastically in this offseason without much room to actually make that improvement. Hawks signing Gallo wasn't really a good move. The playoff experience is important, and Gallo can help them reach it, but I don't think it's important enough to pay someone $20 million. I don't see why people are overreacting to this Gallo contract. I saw Legend of Winning doing it. Like, $20 million a year for 3 years is not a big contract in the NBA, especially for someone of Danilo Gallinari's talent. Like, if Gallo doesn't work out on the Hawks, they could very easily trade him because he's getting pretty much the exact amount of money he's worth, and it's an amount of money that is relatively easy to trade. You can make $20 million from not great contracts for just about any team in the league to get Gallo out of Atlanta if need be. And I don't think that will be needed. That was a good signing for the Atlanta Hawks, and I don't know why people are acting like it isn't. The Bulls are one of the most improved teams of this offseason with the removal of Boylen, hiring of Donovan, and the additions of Williams and Temple, and they will compete for a playoff spot next season. I mean, technically speaking, the Bulls kind of competed for a playoff spot next season. Like, it wasn't impossible until like the last week before the season was shut down. So technically they could still, obviously they're going to compete for a playoff spot again. I don't think the Bulls are going to have as big of a leap as a lot of Bulls fans are suggesting. I have learned that I need to be conservative on what the Bulls are going to doing because I always jump the gun on them. I do think they will compete for a playoff spot. I do think they will be better than last year. I think Williams, drafting him, pairing him with Lowry is more of a lateral move because that's a poor fit. Garrett Temple is a 20-minute-a-game rotation player who's pretty good. I'm not flipping out about that. It's okay. I mean, I think the Bulls have improved. I don't think they're one of the most improved teams of the offseason. I don't think they're one of the biggest winners of the offseason. I also don't think they're one of the biggest losers. Just saw Lowe said the Bulls offseason was an F-, which if you go from Boylen to Billy Donovan, you automatically get at least a C. That is a huge improvement regardless of how obvious of a move that is. So not an F-. That's ludicrous. Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre will have a Jaylen Brown / Brandon Ingram-esque leap in their development under Steph and Draymond and a more stable Warriors culture and environment. Okay, so no, I don't think you're appreciating how big of a leap Jaylen Brown from third year to fourth year to fifth? I think it's fourth year to fifth. Whatever, last season from the season before that. Jaylen Brown's leap was huge. Brandon Ingram's leap was pretty damn drastic as well. And even then, both Andrew Wiggins and probably even Kelly Oubre were not good as Brandon Ingram before his All-Star season or Jaylen Brown before he started averaging 20 points per game. They would not be able to have that leap because they're not even on that level of the player before the leap. So that's just not going to happen. I am very much someone who appreciates culture and appreciates the impact of Steph Curry and the spacing that he provides, but unfortunately the rest of this Warriors team is not there. The culture is not, I don't think it's going to be what it was with Klay Thompson not playing. I just do not think anything close to that kind of leap can be expected. I think Kelly Oubre is probably going to be about the same as what he was last year, which was a pretty damn good player, but not a star-level player. And then Andrew Wiggins is probably not going to be very good because he's Andrew Wiggins, and at every turn, he has showed signs of being good, and then it ended up not actually being true. So definitely do not expect that for Andrew or Kelly Oubre. The Bucks are having a as good, if not better, offseason than the Lakers. Drew is a huge addition. Getting rid of Bledsoe was a big plus, and adding shooters and floor spacers for Giannis was key. So, yes and no. So the Bucks, technically speaking, I would say improved more than the Lakers did in this offseason. However, when you consider the circumstances of both of these teams, what Rob Pelinka did for the Lakers was more impressive than whoever is currently running the Bucks and what they did. Like, trading 3 picks and 2 swaps for Drew Holiday with the contracts that you were able to give up. Like, They had their picks, the Lakers did not. That was the difference between the ability to make that trade. And the Lakers used those picks to get Anthony Davis instead of Drew Holiday, so obviously. While yes, technically I think the Bucks improved more than the Lakers improved this offseason, the Lakers did way more with way less. So definitely would say that the Lakers had a better offseason than the Bucks. Even if the Bucks technically improved more, the difficulty of what the Lakers did was far more significant than what it was for the Bucks. The Knicks have actually had a great offseason so far, especially by their standards, might finally be headed in the right direction. So I realized earlier in this video I kind of dismissed the Knicks a little bit, but I do want to say the Knicks, we've consistently lowered the bar for them, and they have consistently hit the bar regardless, or went below the bar. I don't know how that fucking phrase works. They consistently were even worse than we expected the Knicks to be, which is shocking because it's the Knicks. But this season, or this offseason, they've been fine. They haven't done anything stupid. They haven't made any big moves, but they haven't not made moves that they should have made. Like, they've played it conservatively, and I think that was the right move for the Knicks, and I think it's a positive step in the right direction. But as I've said, the bar has been lowered to the point where just not fucking up is considered a good offseason for the Knicks. And I don't know how much I can actually praise the Knicks for just for once, not being dog shit. But that has been your hot takes. Again, go check out that My NBA series. It's a whole lot of fun. I really enjoy doing them, so I'd appreciate your support on those. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.